State regime media, which calls itself Fox News, devoted an entire segment to attacking my little brother Jordy. Hey, state regime media, you don't attack my little brother Jordy. And they attacked him for saying, he goes, Jordy said on the last MeidasTouch podcast, he goes, I don't think this should be a political thing. I'm just so pissed that the White House continues to gaslight us over Donald Trump's deteriorating health. And now they're saying that the reason that Donald Trump's hand looks discolored and the back of his hand always has these bandages over the discolored hand is because he shakes a lot of hands. And Jordy just said, just enough is enough. Just stop with the lies. So state regime media didn't like that my brother Jordy was saying that. So they devoted an entire segment and they're like, the leftist podcast, MeidasTouch, is saying that they don't believe that Donald Trump's discolored hand is caused by all of the handshakes. Of course it's caused by the handshake. These leftists then go on to say that Donald Trump has some zombie disease on his hands. Okay, first off, Jordy never said that Trump has a zombie disease on his hand. What we're pointing out is that it's obviously a lie, that the reason that his hand is utterly discolored and he wears this bandage is because of handshakes. And by the way, that's not even where the hand actually shakes. Like when you actually watch the video of how a handshake, you know where a handshake works and you watch the video of where the discolored bandage goes over his hand. Let's just watch what happens here. This is Fox's segment attacking my little brother Jordy. Here, play this clip.
No, they're wrong. Caroline Levitt says the president had bandages on his hand because he shakes too many hands. Well, the guys on the MeidasTouch leftist podcast had an issue with that. Watch.
Donald Trump has all of those bruises and bandages because he's out there literally shaking so many hands. I mean, you simple-minded people, you guys can't even fathom the amount of hands he's out there shaking. And look, this is why I say at a certain point, I don't even believe what we're doing here is political. Plain and simple, I just don't want to be lied to and I don't want to be gaslit.
The funniest part, he went on to say that the bandages on the hands were some kind of weird, wacky disease, you know, like, oh, he had something and it was some zombie-ish thing. Yeah, of course.
In the words of my 12-year-old, bruh, you don't want to be lied to? Where were you when we were being lied to about Joe Biden's actual mental state and all of the people like puppeteering him like he was a Muppet? Like, seriously, maybe... That doesn't look suspicious to me at all. Having worked with a lot of A-list talent that are actually out there shaking a lot of hands, this isn't surprising. I mean, the guy's an elderly man. Your skin gets thinner as you get older. At least he has the mental capacity to run the United States and run it better than Joe Biden did.
Yeah.
Now, state regime media has been going after the MeidasTouch over and over again. Let me just share with you when they went after one of our hosts, Aaron Parnas, because early on, Aaron Parnas was just giving the facts about where ICE raids were going to take place. Parnas was ahead of the curve and just pointing out, here's where we expect an ICE raid to take place. And then state regime media said that Parnas should be prosecuted by the DOJ. Here, play this clip.
Well, it's not just championing illegal immigrants detained in New Jersey. There's a new trend on the left, and that's warning illegal immigrants about planned ICE raids in sanctuary cities.
We have some breaking news right now. According to reports, ICE raids are coming to Washington, D.C. tomorrow and Wednesday. Especially those working for DoorDash are going to be subject to these raids. ICE agents plan to initiate operations after breakfast hours and before dinner time. If you live in the DMV area, listen up.
And then state regime media, which calls itself Fox, went after us again recently. I'm going to show you another clip. Before doing that, just a reminder, hit subscribe, help the MeidasTouch YouTube channel. Hit 6 million subscribers. As you know, we are under attack from state regime media. We're under attack from the Trump regime. They want us shut down. They're investing billions of dollars into their digital infrastructure to try to destroy us. So just double check that you're subscribed and help us hit 6 million subscribers. So then again, this just happened also. another segment from state regime media, which calls itself Fox. They went after a segment that I did, one of the interviews I did with Dr. Vin Gupta, who runs Meidas Health. And Dr. Vin Gupta was reflecting on Donald Trump's poor health, and state regime media was like the New York Times and this MeidasTouch interview. They're talking about Trump's health. We've been talking about Donald Trump's health for a long time now. But anyway, here's Fox going after Dr. Gupta. Here, play this clip right here.
The New York Times claiming that he's slowed down and he's showing signs of fatigue. Americans see Mr. Trump less than they used to. He has fewer public events on his schedule and is traveling domestically much less than he did by this point during his first year in office, although he is taking more foreign trips. He also keeps a shorter public schedule than he used to. Most of his public appearances fall between noon and 5 p.m. on average. Well, the man is almost 80, but he's also a machine. I mean, he barely sleeps, he works around the clock, and he constantly talks to the press. And meanwhile, Biden always slept, worked sometimes, and never talked to the press unless they're asking him about ice cream flavors. But some people are still living in opposite world when it comes to these two presidents.
President Biden was active on the weekends, especially riding his bike in Rehoboth Beach. No one denied that with President Biden, that he had his moments of being 80 or 82, whatever it was. In this case, the White House is not willing to even acknowledge that the president is showing obvious signs of age-related decline. One, he might take trips out overseas in Air Force One. That doesn't substitute for the lack of physical activity. There's a reason to be worried based on his public performance.
Well, Biden also fell off that stationary bike. So here to discuss it is Clay Travis, Outkick founder and Fox News contributor.
Now, you also probably saw recently that Donald Trump posted the interview that I did with Eric Holder, former attorney general under the Obama administration, where Eric Holder said that we need to really have a serious discussion about Supreme Court reform because this right-wing Supreme Court is rogue. This right-wing Supreme Court is causing significant harm to the American people, and they're not reflecting where 70% of Americans are, 80% of Americans are on most issues. So then Donald Trump posts our interview. State regime media, which calls Fox, was focused on it as well. And it's the interview. And then Trump's like, Obama sycophant, former attorney general, did this interview. And he said that he wants to Supreme Court reform. We need to eliminate the filibuster now. Look what these leftists are doing. So then after state regime media attacks us, they try to make the case that Donald Trump is in great health. So here's how they tried to do that. They have Jesse Waters say that you can't be a dictator with dementia. Here, play this clip.
You can't be a dictator with dementia. You can't suspend an election and then forget you suspended an election. Trump didn't need note cards to know who Hillary Clinton was. And the guy has the longest memory of anybody. He remembers every slight, every name, every statistic. The man is a lot of things. He does not have dementia.
Then they have Howard Lutnick. Again, they're attacking our reporting. So then they bring on the Commerce Secretary after attacking our reporting, Lutnick. And Lutnick's like, Donald Trump, he sleeps less than me, okay? He barely sleeps at all. Yeah, that's a sign of Alzheimer's and dementia. I'm not suggesting that Donald Trump has or doesn't have anything. I'm just giving you opinions. I First Amendment opinion protection, right? But here's what Lutnick says, because what Lutnick says would be another sign of Alzheimer's or dementia. Here, play this clip.
Give it all we've got. The president sleeps less than me. I sleep 5 hours a night. The president sleeps 4 hours a night, and he's working all the time. He calls me late at night. He wants to talk about the day. He's on it all the time. It is the most impressive thing you've ever seen.
So, Howard, you got to watch.
And then they bring in this guy, Dr. Mark Siegel. This guy's a quack. And this guy's like, all the executives are getting preventative MRIs right now, just of the abdomen. So it makes sense that Donald Trump would just get MRIs of the abdomen. Okay, that's not a thing. There's no such thing as a preventative MRI of the abdomen. But here's what Dr. Siegel says. Here, play this clip.
They're going, oh, why is he having an MRI? Well, because that's, by the way, what executives do now. They have MRIs of the heart. Dr. Fuster at Sinai is doing them on a lot of people. people had screening tests, and he had some leg swelling. They went after that, so he had an MRI. Looks normal. But Biden, by comparison, was not normal. He had medical problems. He had prostate cancer. He had cognitive problems.
Okay, so we'll put our doctors against the Fox doctors any day of the week. So that was the Fox doctor. So I'll let you all decide for yourself, right? That's the Fox medical expert, Dr. Siegel. Let's take a look at the MeidasTouch lead doctor, Dr. Gupta, who runs Meidas Health. And here's what he said when he spoke to all of his radiology colleagues, what they told him. Play this clip.
Well, Ben, I had a chance to speak to a lot of radiology colleagues at the best academic institutions in the country over the last 24 hours because, I want to make sure that we're getting the very best expertise across specialties for Meidas and Meidas Health. No one is aware of getting an MRI of the torso, which is what the results that were summarized in the physician's note that Carolyn Levitt read out. It doesn't exist. They had justified getting an MRI of the torso for primary screening of some sort of medical process because he's older. And, that doesn't exist. I'm not aware, my colleagues across the spectrum in radiology are not aware of that type of screening process. You just don't do it. And I think the fact that they reported only the cardiovascular and abdominal findings is odd. Why? Did he get a full body MRI because that's in vogue amongst a certain subsegment of society and they just reported the cardiac and the abdominal findings? Okay. Then why? Did they leave out everything else? Did they just get a torso MRI? Why? There is no clinical guideline that exists. And again, these are the most credentialed radiologists in the country. I challenge anybody to find a group of folks that is more credentialed and more accomplished and knows, what to do and when to do MRIs than the folks I've spoken with. No one is aware of any type of screening guideline to say, yes, as you age, get an MRI of the heart and of your abdomen.
And then when it comes to Donald Trump taking cognitive exams over and over again, here's what Dr. Gupta said. And Dr. Gupta, as you know, leads the Meidas Health Initiative. Here's what he said about that. Play this clip.
Dr. Gupta, I know you got to run. I just want to close the loop on one more thing. In the experts that you speak to and in your own practice, have you ever heard of somebody taking these cognitive exams that Trump keeps saying he's taking like every 3 months or 6 months? This level of, have you ever heard of that? Like with that level of frequency?
No. Nobody takes a Montreal Cognitive Assessment, MoCA for short, which it focuses on recall, memory loss, basic things. Mild cognitive dysfunction is what it tends to sort of screen for. It's not a great tool. No one takes it with this type of frequency. I was on with Nicole Wallace yesterday, and I thought she said it beautifully. Saying that you're passing it every other week is not some sort of flex here that he thinks it is. It's an unusual thing to keep boasting about. Doing it as frequently as he's doing makes no sense. I don't know any neurologist that would recommend doing a MoCA with that type of frequency. And again, it's not the flex that I think he thinks it is.
And then you'll see here Laura Ingraham and Siegel, this doctor from Fox, say, well, who cares that Donald Trump sleeps all the time? That's normal in meetings to just randomly fall asleep in meetings. That's all the rage, what everybody's doing. Here, play this clip.
Well, we all know that he doesn't sleep. I'm not a big sleeper either. So, I, on occasion, I close my eyes if someone's talking for too long, I admit it. But big deal. I mean, the results speak for themselves. What President Trump does on a daily basis. If you sleep 3 hours or 4 hours a night, you're probably going to close your eyes, whether you're 79 or 49. I don't think that matters.
Yeah, President Trump, Thomas Edison believed in the 10-minute nap, by the way. What would they say? We wouldn't have electricity, right?
Oh, my goodness. Well, Dr. Siegel, we will continue to see them fixate on this after everything they did to cover for Joe.
And then finally, you have state regime media, again with that Dr. Siegel, speaking with Laura Ingraham and saying they went crazy. They went crazy because what Rubio did. Here, play this clip.
There was a moment where, again, social media goes crazy and the left is going crazy after totally deep-sixing any concern about Biden for 4 years. And they went crazy because at one point today, when Rubio was talking, President Trump had his eyes closed for, a few seconds. It seemed like a few seconds. But they went crazy. Like, he's sleeping during meetings. Like, your reaction tonight?
I think he seems extremely sharp, and I think this whole thing is a bait and switch. They don't like that he's going after the auto pen stuff because Biden doesn't look like he even knew that he was signing with an auto pen, let alone what he was signing. And
well, I'll let you all judge for yourself. You all take the facts for yourself, okay? But state regime media is attacking us. We hope that you will hit subscribe and help us get to 6 million subscribers. Hey, Midas Mighty, it's Ben, Brett, and Jordy, and we just want to thank you for being the backbone of this movement.
This year tested us more than ever, but together we proved that pro-democracy voices don't just compete, we win.
We took on the entire MAGA machine, won a Webby for Podcast of the Year.
The MeidasTouch podcast.
And you were with us every step of the way.
And trust us, what we're working on next is bigger, bolder, and built for 2026.
Let's keep this momentum going, spread the word, we are just getting started.
Shout out to the Midas Mighty!